Oh, really?
Sometimes
How
twice
many,
a month.
How many people?
You
I
guys
don't
shut
remember.
your
five of
phones
us.
off.
And we are
Oh, really?
recording.
That's
You guys
it.
shut your phones
Not
off.
bad.
Now there'd be only 4 of us since the other one retired. The mayor's wasn't going to reappoint her.
Oh,
He's been
really?
there 28 years.
Oh, wow.
So he wants new. He wants fresh, new.
The new mayor.
The new mayor.
So, fresh new people.
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
And how long is the appointment for?
4 years.
Oh, I see. Wow.
So
You guys comfortable? How is he?
so it's all focused on small business,
Uh,
pretty much. But Port is about infrastructure. We have to raise the.
yeah, I think that's probably the most expensive part.
Yeah, but then
Maintain
Trump cut off the money,
Oh, shit.
$15 billion to repair the waterfront,
way.
7.5 miles.
He cut it all off.
Well, at least froze.
Frozen for now.
Frozen.
So 60% belongs to the federal government, 40% the city has to
has
run, pay for.
Are you guys
All right.
ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay. You guys up? Everything's good? Okay. So this is episode 3 of Social AM, and what we're here to do is trying to get ideas to bring awareness to solutions in the entertainment industry for San Francisco, mainly just San Francisco. We will hit on some other cities and stuff just to, bring awareness of what other cities are doing, but it's mostly for here in San Francisco, and I've invited people like Arash and Steven who have been in the industry for a long time, who are still in the industry now, who started out in early 2000s or 2000s and are still here, because I think their opinion should be valued with everything that's going on with this city right now. So, Steven, if you'll introduce yourself, and please give us a background, like from beginning till now, of what you've done in this city for entertainment, all the things that you've done, please.
Oh, you want me to say how old I am or something?
No, not that.
God, I came here in the late 70s. I went to SF State through parties in college, and I was making money on the side. I go, wow, I came from Vacaville. So got into the Asian thing. I mean, there was only one other promoter older than me. He was, I think, my uncle's age, and he was throwing parties. And I was hanging out with a bunch of people in SF State, and they were saying, "Hey, man, you got to go to these parties." So I was. That's how my promoter career started. And I was a broadcast major, so I have a degree in broadcasting. So DJ wasn't just started, actually. The only Asian DJ back then was Randy Wong, whose father was actually a nightclub owner in Chinatown, which I found out later when he told me that, oh yeah, my dad used to own a nightclub in Chinatown. It used to be one of the most famous nightclubs in Chinatown on the penthouse of the Grand Hotel. And I didn't know anything about any of the nightclubs. Back then there was 25 bars and nightclubs in Chinatown.
Wow.
That was during towards the end of World War II, when all the people were being shipped out to fight the Japanese. So that's the heyday of the Forbidden City and stuff. But at my generation, it was DJs. Live music actually was the big thing in Chinatown. Garage bands. So all the kids that were there, they were playing in garage bands, and that's when the Whispers and Sly and the Family Stone and they were all popular, and they were doing all the cover songs. I was doing parties, and I was hiring these bands because bands were the things, and DJs weren't even heard of, just KFRC, and then Randy Wong, the son.
What year is that? When
This is in 1978, 79.
Okay.
And Chinatown was booming. Everybody was doing late night dining and stuff, and there's clubs in Chinatown, bars, and there was a club at Bencher Bar. So I hooked up kind of with Randy Wong, because I had did the mobile DJ thing, and Randy was with Cameron Paul, and
I never knew that you were a DJ.
I just kind of did it,
Okay.
for the schooling, but I did a lot of the recordings.
Okay.
We did our stuff on tape. But Randy was that hardcore DJ with the long hair cowboy hat. He played with that City Nights So Long back in the day.
Yeah.
And I hung out with him, and we started throwing parties. And so went from there to And then, and we were kind of underground, I was like, hey, what kind of business is this? Just to make some side cash during college. And then I stopped and started doing other things, printing, anything related to promotion. Because back then, hey, we had to put stamps on postcards and send them out. My mailing list was 5,000 people, and I'm putting stamps on postcards to send them out.
Literally a mailing list.
Right? Mailing list. Right? That's how far it went back.
Okay.
And then off and on, in and out of entertainment. And I used entertainment to raise money for nonprofits, Japantown, Neomachi Street Fair. That's when the band scene was big. So then after a while, DJs became more popular. And I just followed the promotional game. And until I wanted to open my own club, which is Glass Cat in 1999. And at that time, the police had the permits. And it was I had to go back 12 times just to get my permit for Glass Cat. Okay.
And that's I met you later, but I met you
around
when you had Glass Cat.
Because before that, I was a promoter at every restaurant, every bar, because they couldn't make it.
I just want to bring that is the Grand now.
It's called the Grand now.
Now, yeah.
It was called the Trocadero Transfer.
Yes.
Okay. You want to really
Mark
know
told
the
me about
bars
that.
then?
Yeah.
You talk about Studio West when Temple was DNA DNA Lounge, right?
Well, it was
Or not
something
DNA.
eight.
It was
Eight.
DV8.
DV8,
Right?
yeah.
Winky's place.
It was
DNA was
DV8.
still kind of around.
Yeah.
Right.
What was the Eppies, Studio West.
City Nights was there.
City Nights was around 18,
Yeah.
only 18 over
Okay.
club. I mean, it was a ton of them. Then I opened like Mr. Green Jeans. What happened is entertainment has always been there to bail out these restaurants. They can't make it. Their cash flow sucks. They owe money in rent. But I come in to a party, and suddenly they got 10,000 in cash, and they would pay all this money to pay their debt. So I would go around. I would help build up their business. I throw a party once a Saturday, and it got their cash flow going. And if for some reason they still got padlocked, or they didn't pay their taxes,
Yeah.
and I'm going, God, I should own a club to figure out why is this happening. So we were looking for a club, and I got involved with like Alison Lee from the Gold Club. Yeah, he was like the controller. I got somebody from Aqua to help with the food service because we wanted to serve food, and we opened Glass Cat.
Okay.
But just to get the permits at the time, because at that time the cops wanted to shut all the clubs down. And so the Terrence Allen,
Yeah.
we opened. They had the Late Night Coalition was formed, and then we did CMAC. Right, I was on the board for CMAC, and to push back on a lot of this legislation that was hurting bars. And then of course, when we finally opened, and then of course then the ABC stuff happening. Michelle Ott came out, right?
Yeah.
They had the cops that were trying to shut everybody down. And we finally got our permit after a while, but they kept coming out, and then all of a sudden there was always trouble every so often. So that's how I got into the political game per se, right? And then Arash started coming up. He was our promoter, more for the Grand, but I don't know. Did you do anything at Glass Cat for us?
No, I don't think I did anything Glass Cat.
Yeah.
I might have done one off
He
party,
promoted
college party.
for me at Crash.
Yeah.
Crush, okay.
Yeah. So him and I mean, when did you come into town, Arash?
I went to Walnut Creek in '98.
Okay. And
Okay,
you and
so
I
high
didn't
school.
start together until
Yeah.
2006 or
We did
7. something like-
2006, I think. Yeah, 5 or 6.
Yeah,
believe.
5 or 6.
So you
First
came
year
in when
Crash.
Bobak started promoting at my place, right? You met Bobak then?
That's right. I mean, I think at first event, I did an event at Glass Cat, I think 2004 or 2000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's have you finish it. Just keep coming
so
to get
I-
to us where you're at now. And
So basically, I wanted to, if you really want to stay in this game, because I love getting people together, and it is make money. It can make money if you really streamline your operations and stuff. But for me, it's like, oh, let's turn the Trocadero, which is a legendary club, and it was ready to go. I think Mike Brown was promoting there, and it was really out of hand. And they had a number of shootings there, and so the neighbors were just pissed. They just wanted to close this place, shut it down, and then we were looking for a place, and so the owner was saying, "Hey, how about my place? It's, we'll give it to you at a steal, whatever." But that guy was Dick Collier was the owner of that club for so long. He was during the disco days of Trucadero and Syncopation, and there was the City Disco on Broadway. That was the time of Studio 54. It was short-lived of 2 years during the time. And he was holding on to that place for dear life. They had Bondage a Go-Go, right? They had...
Was it I thought Bondage a Go-Go was Cat Club.
No. What happened is...
And because it ended up at Glass Cat for a while as well.
Because we
They
brought
did
it
at Glass
back.
Cat.
It was at the
Yeah.
Trucadero originally.
Which is kind of groundbreaking stuff at the time.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say.
George,
Bondage a
you got to
Go-Go.
get George in here.
Yeah.
George is the one that ran the Trucadero when it was on its last leg, right? Because it was disco, then it became a new wave place, like what was it? With like all that what's that stuff that was going on Broadway? The punk rock.
Oh, yeah.
It was a
Oh,
punk
yeah.
rock
That's
scene.
80s,
Yeah,
90s.
Yeah, punk rock
well,
scene.
that's Mabuhay Gardens, the Stone,
Exactly.
all
It
that
was
stuff.
that.
We'll hit into that.
But George was running it. Then he was running it, but he was doing promoters, and Mike Brown was doing hip hop, and it was out of control in a sense. They had a couple shootings.
Right.
So when I wanted to take it over and turn it to a supper club, more upscale, I had to go to the neighbors, and they were just throwing the papers back in my face, because my meeting with the neighbors was Monday, and they had a shooting on Sunday,
Wow.
and they were just saying we had enough of that.
But
And-
so you were a DJ, promoter, printer, then you come in, you're Glass Cat owner and manager, if I remember correct. And then what happens with you? Where do you go after that? You become entertainment commissioner?
Well, but then Glass Cat was running, and we kind of had it going. And then I belonged to CMAC. And then, around 2012, then I sold our majority shares to Jay.
Yeah.
So I kind of stepped down after 12 years of running that place. And I still own shares of it at that time. And I let Jay kind of do the reincarnation of the Grand. And so the Grand became the first Vegas-style bottle service club. And of course, he focused on Asians, mostly Asians. I myself rather mixed the crowd, because once the Asians leave, you're done. And that's what happened basically to him. But him and Doug had two good years of a lot of money. Doug financed it, got his money back.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was like that. So then I go, where am I going to go from here? I was glad to get out of there, because there's a lot of stress, and then I figured out why these clubs were closing. We, tax money, the sales tax and everything else. So I said, God, I'm out. The Grand was the new generation. I said, what do I do now? There was an opening on the Entertainment Commission. And so I went for that. By that time, I was already doing a lot of fundraisers and stuff for nonprofits. And then, of course, Jade Kim, David Chu. It was the time of Ed Lee. It was time of the Asians.
Right.
So they wanted more Asian commissioners. So I said, okay, I'll go for Entertainment Commission, because I knew everybody anyway. I had the most experience. I managed the bands. I managed the club and DJs, promotions, whatever. I had to sit there and bid for that. And it was between Scott Wiedner's boy in the Castro, or me as a boy in the Asian community.
Yeah. And
But-
you were also the most connected out of everyone.
And the
else.
most connected.
Well, you had the
With the
most
industry.
knowledge for the
With
commission
industry.
at the time. And when you went on, we all we all pay attention with who the commissioners
Oh man,
are.
when we opened,
But you're the one who actually understood what everybody was going through.
and what we
you know?
wanted to do was whatever I learned, not to have you guys go through it.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
threw every law enforcement thing at me at Glass Cat. When we finally got the permit, we were the model child of the Entertainment Commission, because it wasn't formed yet. My permits were issued originally from the police. So then after that, the Entertainment Commission took over. But all that time, they're all pissed at whatever political, and they were throwing everything at us. Undercover, right? We got stung by ABC for the undercover. because we had neighbors saying, oh, they're doing drugs down there. They're doing whatever. And of course, we still did some hip hop, right? And I don't want to be, prejudiced against anybody. And my promoters are legit. They know what I say. You want this place here, you have to follow my rules. But how their reach, right? By that time, the internet's popping and they're starting reaching out. Party buses changed from really cool. All these nice party buses became a way of these ghetto parties to come in.
Yeah.
Right? And
We've
they
all
found
dealt with
loopholes.
that.
So we got to deal with that. And they're having fights on the buses. So I went to all that to bring all that to the commission. And I might be an asshole on the commission, but at the long run is now you got a permit, man. You got to hold on to it. It's like gold.
Yeah.
And we don't want you to be coming back here. The same thing at the port. When we give out a lease, we want to make sure it's substantial and you can hold on to that. We don't want you to come back and we have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So Entertainment Commission, let's talk about what you did in Chinatown now, what you've done for Chinatown, and you have a club now in Chinatown because we gotta move forward. But explain your place that you have there
Okay,
now.
so basically I sold my shares at the Grand. I was doing the Entertainment Commission, took a break from that. Didn't really want to do any other club per se, but I knew Chinatown would be the newest place because Buddha Bar and Lipo were doing well. The hipsters were always going there. Chinatown was taking a dive. I mean, it was stable. It's a quiet neighborhood, but I knew rents are going to be more affordable than going to Soma, or I mean, I was there with a pizza place for a while, but not a club. Still doing some promotions here and there, parties. But I knew Chinatown would be the next frontier because the rent's affordable. And it's still a cool spot because New York's been doing Chinatown for years. New York Chinatown's been an underground.
You like
place.
London too. Like London's Chinatown is really cool.
But we were in Hong Kong, Wu Gui has been the night spot for all the clubs, and we wanted to be the not Wu Gui, but the what was it called? It's called Lai Wei Bei Fong, or I'm not Chinese. Come on, guys, I'm ABC. But Lai Guangfang in Hong Kong, there's an area called Lai Guangfang. We wanted to be the Lai Guangfang of the West. Okay. That was the idea. But
what's the name of your club?
Was Lion's Den.
Lion's Den.
Okay. Lion's Den was a club in the 50s. We kept the name. It was a dungeon in a restaurant called Gotwa. And the Forbidden City people, they were doing all these floor shows, and it was one of the floor shows then. So my idea was to bring back live music back to San Francisco because that's where the garage bands were playing in the 60s. The Whisper started at that location. They had a Chinese manager. So I wanted to bring all that back because I own San Wo, which was part of the legacy business, and our numbers back then were $1.7 million in selling chow mein and rice noodles with soup. But the numbers were going down. Chinatown's numbers were going down before COVID. So I had to pitch the club idea to the people that control the conditional use permits, because they hold a tight knit of what goes into Chinatown, because the tech companies wanted to come and start buying buildings and kick out the seniors. And we have too many of these watchdog organizations that control what goes into Chinatown. So I had to pitch them and say, look, we need to do something more to bring people back to Chinatown instead of selling back scratchers and walks all during the day. And they bought it. So it took us 2 years to change the permit, because back then when these 25 bars and nightclubs were going down, strip clubs were coming up. So the community people said, well, we don't want these bars to become strip clubs because it was easy to do.
Right.
So they said no more entertainment past 10 o'clock unless you're a big restaurant.
Oh.
Far East, New Asia, Empress of China. They were our places where we had baby parties and we had places to eat, you know. Okay.
Excuse me, guys. Go ahead.
So basically, those places are gone.
Yeah. They're no longer
So I had to change the zoning
Oh wow.
to have entertainment past 10.
In
So-
Chinatown.
In Chinatown. So Buddha Bar and Lipo could not have a DJ after 10 o'clock. So I
Okay.
changed all that. So we're
We're
good.
pushing far, so I got to get to you. Please introduce yourself and your
I hope you're
history.
editing this stuff.
Well, we can, but
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
more.
they
It's
keep it
supposed to be
live.
live, so
Oh,
we
okay.
are
All
live.
right, go ahead.
They got a live,
Yeah,
Instagram
you're live,
stuff going
so-
on there. Yeah, so I'll start really quick.
Just your history, what
yeah.
you've done infrastructure wise, you know, how you started in the game, what you've done, all the different places you've opened your infrastructure for that, and where you are right now today, please.
Got it. So Arash Ganadan first. I came here in '98, originally Iranian Persian, and then I think the first party I threw was back in 2002. Snowdrift, if that kind of
Yep.
rings a bell. Unfortunately, as Steven was talking, I was like thinking about like, well, where have I done events in the past? And honestly, I would say 80% of those places have shut down. So I'm probably gonna get later into what happened and stuff. But yeah, that was the first one, college party. I started by I was going to UC Berkeley. I was a computer major, and back then the emails and stuff was just starting, right? And you wouldn't have like a on-demand or live email. You would just check every hour or so. You would get some new emails. So these things will, the servers and computers would just get all these emails and then push it out once every hour or so. So it was very easy to get people's email addresses and stuff. And that was just a time, and I guess you went from literally mailing people like invitations and stuff that or handing out flyers, putting posters up and stuff. And I found the easier way is like, hey, I can just send you an email, right? And especially back in the school, that was the time. But Berkeley, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other UCs and stuff, we're just switching to using the emails rather than just doing the hard copies, assignments, and stuff like that. So it was really easy. I got access to it, and the next thing you know, I start throwing these college parties back when I was in college. And initially, we're just doing it with some friends for fun, especially DJs. People just, especially when you're in college, you like, it's kind of your passion. You kind of enjoy it. It's your hobby and stuff to be a DJ.
It helps you network, does a lot.
Yeah, and then I still
meet a lot of
remember
people.
one time Steve Aoki was just back then just throwing college stuff, and he came and DJed one of our events and stuff. So that was cool. But I was, at that time, I was looking more for 18 and over places. Like a Snowdrift was one of them. That's what I thought. I did an event at Glass Cat that was like maybe 18 and over.
Thursdays.
Yeah,
18 over on
Thursdays. And after school, I kind of continued doing it, but in a little bit different style. I partnered up with a couple other partners. We mainly focus on, we call it international parties, right? My partner was Russian. I have another partner that was Persian. And then we would get DJs from different parts, European DJs, Greek DJs, and so on and so forth, you call it. And we would look for the places that they had 2 or 3 rooms. Right? So
What year?
This is in 2005.
So
it's about
close
20
to
years
when
ago.
we met.
Close to when we met. And that's
Yeah.
what I like about Crash, if you remember, because we always want to have our house Euro kind of a music that we had. Top 40 hip hop. Back then there was no, mashup. They would just call it hip hop.
We
and
actually started, the mashups.
Yeah.
It was just coming in.
stuff. That was just
So our
starting.
downstairs were mashups because I was really afraid of hip hop and doing hip hop. 181 across the street was doing harder hip hop. So we basically started doing mashups downstairs.
Yeah.
We stole some of the DJs from
Different
there.
places.
Yeah,
I remember back
and
then
then but upstairs it was, it was Tommy Lee's floor, but you guys were all promoting the second floor, which was more of a, you call it international Euro type.
Euro
mix.
house music,
Yeah.
right? Today it's called Afro House probably, but back then,
Yeah.
for the lack of it, maybe EDM just was starting, if
Yeah.
you call it. Yeah, so I like these places that had 2 or 3 different rooms where we could do these 2 different music, because I partnered up with a couple other people that had different type of crowd, but everybody get along pretty well, especially in San Francisco, where it's such a diverse culture and community. So they love to like party together for like 1,000 people. Zebra Lounge was another one. You probably remember that one. That one also closed down. Yeah, so I did the promotion for a good about 10 years, right? And then I think what Steven said is kind of the natural phase where you, after a while being a promoter and stuff, the next step is to become an owner and kind of opening your own establishment. And then, so one of the places that I was promoting pretty regularly was Fluid. And
Right.
And I partner up with John Park, and we bring in a couple other investors as well, and bought the business, signed a new lease, remodel it, and that's what's called.
And Fluid is
Novella.
now Novella, right?
Yeah, that's called Novella today. So Novella, that was the first, I would say, venture or the place that I opened back in 2013. Now we took over it in 2011 or so, but we ran it for a little bit, for about a couple of years. Just like what Steven mentioned, it was hard to buy. Even 2011 was, I mean, I'm sure 1999 was 10 times probably harder or so, but even 2011 wasn't that easy to do this transition, move the licenses. Things are a little bit more streamlined today, but ABC license you want to move, I mean, a year plus, easy,
Yeah.
right?
It took me 9 months here to do everything. Took 9 months to do.
Yeah, I want to say
I moved from Eddie to here, and it took 9 months.
I want to say Novella, from Fluid to the time that it was about over 2 years when the liquor license transferred.
Yeah.
But I think in your case, there was some, your
We had
partnership.
some temporarily. We had some.
Yeah, there's a lot of internal. There was some delays.
Well,
there, I
I'm not
remember.
bad. It's just it is a process, and all of us know how to do it, but it is a process for somebody coming into it.
Yeah, and
there's a lot to it.
Yeah, and it's interesting, or it's funny, because pretty much all the businesses that I have, I took over from kind of a legacy business that they were, right. Novella was Fluid back then. A couple of years after that, I used to do events at Bubble Lounge. Again, I liked that place because it had 2 or 3 different rooms and stuff. Became friend with the owner and stuff, and then took over that space, or bought that space, and remodeled and turned it into Barbarossa Lounge.
Right.
And then later on, again, another place that I was doing a lot of events and stuff was Harlot, and then
With Martel.
And we came up into the partnership agreement, and I bought majority of Harlot, and ran that for a very long time. Probably, I mean, Harlot was around for over 10 years or so. I was involved for the last 4 years of it, and we remodeled it post-COVID or during COVID. I'm open at post-COVID, and that's called Matter, right? But my kind of point is, out of these places, they were all established businesses that have been going on for a very long time. But when I came in, I found myself in the trouble business, right? And that's the part that I think Steven was mentioning.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, there's not that many venues left, right? Either they got shut down, so Arash and a number of our other friends are taking over, and we have to clean up. And so on the Entertainment Commission, I know all those places that were coming in, and the new owners were coming in, and they were all trouble places.
Yeah.
So the education was to.
Yeah, but in context of what we're talking about, I think that the current government, Entertainment Commission, and everybody involved is trying to make it easier for us, as far as I can tell.
On the political side, it is better. We have a mayor that's, well, I'm not saying that London Breed wasn't, she was pro-business.
We try not to bring up
whatever.
what happened,
mayor.
names and stuff.
What I'm saying is, there's a period of time where the Board of Supervisors had all the control. The mayors are a little bit more on moderate side. They want to help the small business, but there's 11 now supervisors that have a lot of say. So a lot of things get delayed. And they only meet, the Board of Supervisors meet more often, but certain things take time.
Yeah.
Like planning might meet, your case gets postponed, they won't hear it again for 2 more months.
I'm infrastructure too. We understand, but
Yeah,
keep coming with it a little bit. I'm gonna get back to him,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
the board of supervisors will slow things down. Planning slows things down. ABC slows things down. We have a positive mayor and a positive.
And you have even type 90. You have different
Yeah.
licenses.
Right.
Scott Wieners has always been a champion of promoting. So we're in a better place than we were,
Yeah.
right? But then again, we have more responsible owners as well, because some people thought, oh, I got the permit, I could do whatever I want, and it
Yeah.
doesn't work that way. At least when I was there, I keep reminding people that you still have to be responsible because they still had that power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me get. So let's go back. So currently you own 3 places, correct?
Yeah. So actually 4 now. Recently reopened and
Let's
brought
talk
back
about
another.
Let's talk about the.
Yeah, the
that.
4th one is brought back at another legacy San Francisco business, Turtle Tower. I think we were talking about right before. That one shut down post-pandemic. Simply, the location didn't work out that well in Tenderloin and stuff. At one point, they had to be different locations, but and financially, kind of didn't make much of a sense for them either as well. Had a great run. I mean, it's been around since 1999, I think, so 25 years or so. But anyway, worked back with the founders, with the original chef, and the family, amazing people and stuff. And just about maybe last Friday that was our grand opening. But about
And it's
a month
Turtle
ago.
Tower.
Yeah,
Turtle
Turtle Tower.
Okay.
So those are the 4. Yeah, and meanwhile, I still try to do some events here and there, but much less. Mainly more involved in the operation part of it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Suraj. So let's move into this. The big question and why we're here is ideas to recover San Francisco's. We are, all of us. I mean, I know Arash and I have spoke. I haven't really spoke to you about how your place is doing, but overall, most of the people that I speak with and people in this industry are being hit pretty hard since COVID. I know some people have seen recovery, but ideas and your outlook of how this city can recover, new ideas to help it, and like you were just saying, streamlining things, making it easier for people to do things, not as much of permits, but more a look at, say you had some charge here and you could take some funds from this city, what would you do to bring people back to the city, and what do you think would need to be done? Is it just infrastructure of the city, homelessness, all of the things that made people leave and not come back, bridge and tunnel? There's a lot to it. There's a lot to all of the factors, the gaming people coming in, raising the prices, everybody left. I'm just giving some examples, but I really want your guys' opinion as to what you think you could do or some ideas for our current government as to how we could make this recover. You know what I mean? It's not about my opinion. I really want your guys' opinion with this.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have Arash. I'm gonna have you go first.
All right, I'll go first. I think 5 things happened. Again, my perspective. 5 things happened that got us where we are today, right? And it's funny because when I look back, and if anybody at the time, this is probably 2017, 2018, when economy was booming, everything was great. Anybody at the time thought that San Francisco is going to be what it is today, back then, would have probably stopped any of these 5 things, right? So what are those 5 things that happened? I think the first thing happened is tech.com boom. That brought a complete different sets of people. And I'm engineering background. I can tell you from my own personal understanding that we're just not that great when it comes to art, to literature, to creativity and stuff like that. Where our head is just focused on 0 and 1s, and when it brought those sort of people, we're not the creative part, right? The creativity that we bring is processes and stuff like that, right? And that immediately push some of the more creative, more artists, more musicians and stuff away from it. And this migration was great. I mean, it was nothing that I think the city has ever seen in the past. So companies were hiring left and right, opening left and right, to the point that there was no place left to house these people. So then
Yeah.
what happened?
Prices.
Then they start shutting down the clubs, right? Envy is a great example. You know what's in Envy today? It's LinkedIn building,
Okay.
right? They built that. Manor West is another one. What's in Manor West today? Another compound where apartment complex and stuff, right? So on and so forth. You keep going, right? And
Well,
so-
also though the prices drove up, correct? I mean, so it made it harder for entertainment people to lease buildings when you're competing with all of the people that from Google and everybody coming into this city. So all of our rents went up as well, correct? Okay.
Yeah, and so when I almost feel like if the city knew that was going to happen and they valued the entertainment at the time, they would have put these places into some sort of like the protected entity, right? You can't just shut down, Castro movie theater, right? You
Yeah.
can't just go ahead and shut down museum or something like that today just because
Right.
they're kind of protected. So that wasn't there, and landlords versus people versus city, everybody was happy with what's going on. I think the third factor that kind of lead into it and it's hurting and stuff is prices, the cost that goes back to, it's not just the rent, it's the labor, it's insurance. I mean, I can tell you the insurance today is at the point that if it's not minimum 50% of your rent, it could be
It's
be
crazy.
higher.
It's crazy for me because I'm not a restaurant.
Yeah.
So my insurance quadrupled moving from Eddie to here. My insurance, and I know it can be a lot more. I think I'm getting a fairly good deal. It went from like $800 a month to $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
That's about right.
But places like in Walnut Creek, we're paying $10,000 a month at Walnut Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the fourth factor is probably the safety,
Mm.
right? Especially when you get, there's only 800,000 people live in San Francisco, but on the weekend, we're probably getting about 1 million or so coming from the rest of the Bay Area and stuff. But when they start hearing cars are getting broken into, people are getting jacked on the street, stealing world watches and stuff like that, right? Safety is a concern. Why do I leave my house from Walnut Creek, from somewhere in San Jose, Palo Alto, anywhere?
And I think that the problem with that is that went out internationally as well as Bridge and Tunnel around us during this time period where people, and I talk to a lot of people are afraid to come back here even now due to these problems.
Wow.
So it's a really good point.
Yeah, those are hard. It's very hard to recover from. Bad news travels 10 times faster than any good news you could
Yeah.
do, right? And I think this is what I like about the mayor and stuff today is like he's out there, he's promoting San Francisco and stuff with his social platform that he has. Okay, and then the last one I think has to do with us as an entertainment people and stuff. Like a lot of us moved out, to be honest with you. Even today, if you want to open a place, you have the best idea. Where is that A team that you can find in San Francisco to operate it?
Mm.
I can tell you from my own personal experience.
Well, a lot of people moved away.
A lot of people
San
moved away.
Diego, LA, Vegas, a lot of my friends moved away.
And San Francisco right now today is not back in 2000, back in 80s or 90s. It was known to be the place. It was the Ibiza of probably US, right? It was a place where every talent was coming here. Guess what? Today we don't have that talent, right? So these 5 factors, if you put them all together
Can I
and
just
stuff, I think
one
that's
second?
where,
It's just with the safety part. Do you feel that the homelessness is part of that? Or how do
I
you feel
think-
about that?
So the homeless problem, it's not something that you want to see. It's not something to look at, right? What it does, if there's San Francisco has
Do you
always
think
had
it's
homeless
helping?
problem.
My question would be:
It's
do you
always
think-
had a homeless problem. So when it's unsafe and now you have a homeless on top of it, it's almost on a steroid, the effect of it.
You don't think that the homeless is contributing to the safety, or contributing to people
Well,
not
is that the
coming
whole-
here?
it's the mental
The
health-
question is as a sixth thing, do you think the homeless are making it so people won't come back? You don't think that's a factor?
I think number one is safety, and we're still not
Okay.
there, to be honest with you. I think we've made great progress. We've come far to where we are today. It's just at one point, you know, when it's for the city, and just again, city is just all of us. It's acceptable when a car gets broken down to, and they're like, oh wow, that's just happened again. You know, that's another like windows that they broke, and that can never be acceptable, right?
Right.
And I think that's the number one priority, should definitely be dealt with. The homeless issue is a mental health, as Stephen, and I've dealt with that part of it myself. I mean, you guys will probably know about this one, but I had a situation, and I'll tell you the both side of it too, because I literally get firsthand to see how divided are these two group of people that are against supporting the homeless people and are almost fed up with the whole situation, versus the people that actually feel bad and they want to do something about it. Right?
We're talking about business owners.
Yeah,
trying to do
I mean, as a
business,
business owner, I had a situation, had nothing to do with me. The landlord came in and he hosed down a homeless right outside of my place.
I know about that.
My place was the logo was right behind, so everybody thought it was the owner of Barbarossa doing it.
Attack!
And the next thing you know, I'm getting death threats, right? And I was like, how could you do this and stuff? And at the same time, I'm getting calls like, thank God you did it. More people got to be stepping up like you, right? Which is so interesting, right? That just shows you how divided people are. You
Right.
know? And an act that I 100% condemn, and I don't think is the right thing to do. Some people are okay with it, right? So I think the homeless issue and stuff is certainly something we need to deal with. I mean, overall, you want to have a city that you could present it to the outside.
Especially a beautiful city like this, an
Amazing
international
city. I mean,
yeah.
so many times I work outside of the city. I do have other jobs too as well. I drive out a lot, and then every time I come back from like Golden Gate, sunny day and stuff, it's the most beautiful scene you've ever seen, right? It's the most beautiful scene you've ever seen, and I think we have way to go to get to our high potential. Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully the mayor will watch this. Tell him what you would do, or about your 5 issues, and what would you do to change these things, or to help change all 5 things. I mean, let's get into that to make it so it would help recover. Yeah,
so we need to protect entertainment, right? And I'll give you one other example, by the way, too. Barbarossa Lounge, Bubba Lounge, it's been in that building since 1998, right? They built high rises next door to it, knowing that this place is a place of entertainment, right? And the next thing you know, we're getting complaints that, hey, your place is too loud, right? Whereas you knew the property that you bought was right next to the place of entertainment. You got a discount by buying a place because when you were negotiating, you said, well, there's this next to the bar. And there's multiple bars and stuff. And all of a sudden, we have to now compromise, and to the point where you can't even really have that much fun, right? So these are the parts where does the city come to play, right? You got to get some sort of protection, and you got to, at the mayors, at the city's level, they need to understand this city can't come back unless the entertainment comes back, right? And the entertainment, to me, is not just the clubs, it's not just the bars, it's a restaurant. I mean, try to find a restaurant in San Francisco that's still open after 9 p.m.
Well, it's a labor problem.
You
Yeah.
know?
Gotta get people to work.
And there's just nobody here
And there's nobody
internationally
here
now.
that wants to
It's
come. So
it's a
it's-
simultaneous thing that needs to happen.
And guess
though.
what? If you want to go somewhere, if you want to vacation somewhere, what's the number one thing that you start thinking about?
Food, fun,
Does the place, is
entertainment.
it fun?
Yeah,
Is it food? What is it to see? Is it
Yeah.
safe?
yeah, all those things. Yeah.
And we got, the place is amazing and nice, and the other 3 I just named, they're not there, right?
Okay. So what to do? Well, we're gonna be with you.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
are
I'm
we?
sure
Gonna,
you wanna-
what are we gonna do to change it? How can we fix those 3 problems?
I think safety is the number one priority.
So
unless we're safe and the streets are clean, nothing's gonna happen.
Okay.
So I'm hoping, and I heard it from the mayor itself, that's on top of his list, right?
Okay.
That's the number one. Number 2, we need to understand and do something about these out of control costs. It's insane out there.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at the price of everything and the percentage that they have increased, you should be selling a drink for probably like $30 in San Francisco to keep up
but nobody
just with
can
the cost
afford.
increases.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, you can, right? So I think that's the second part. It's a labor situation that the city needs to really need to. And then I think entertainment as a whole there needs to be a budget funded for entertainment if you want this thing coming back to San Francisco, just like how we budget for Muni, how we budget for other stuff. It needs to be a coalition between the industry people and the city to bring back events, to promote the San Francisco out there and honestly bring back the tourists. We're missing a huge portion on the tourists.
But first things first, it has to be safe before they can promote that.
Safety is number one.
Yeah. Okay. I am to you, sir. Okay. So
Yeah.
same
So I've
same
only been
question.
dealing with this 12 years, right?
So
14.
same question, but to you, I'm
Okay,
gonna go.
I'm gonna follow up on some of what he said. So,
Okay.
as far as yes, that was a problem of people moving next door to clubs, right? So actually, there was legislation saying that if you're gonna develop something next to a club, you have to go to the Entertainment Commission, and we have to approve to make sure your windows are soundproof, your door is not going to impede to where everybody's coming out of the club and suddenly it's at your front door. So there were some safeguards, but that's only for new construction or new development. So if somebody sold their building that's next door to a club,
Right.
that doesn't apply anymore because it's already built.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. So whatever's existing now, you have to go through that anyway, right? So unfortunately, that's screwed up. So there was only on the new stuff, so you can't change that. As far as when I had Glass Cat or the Grand, Bridget Tunnel was our business. When the bridge shut down,
Yeah, I remember
we're
this
dead.
time.
We're like the whole South of Market had no business. Okay, only the neighborhood bars, North Beach, Marina, they're all doing good because they live in the neighborhood. Okay, so the problem is back then, and it's still now, if nobody's coming over the bridge, it's going to be slow. Going back to the doom loop situation, I have customers that come to Chinatown for my club. You know, they're cool, and they came from Hawaii, and they were hesitant to come here because they heard all the static. But when they got here, they said it's fine. There's nothing wrong with the place. So PR, and what does news have to report, right? Only bad things. They only start doing the good things recently because there's no bad things to report. The previous administration, the previous mayor got a lot of
so
stuff.
right there, so you think there needs to be more positive promotion, right?
Well, the thing is, things have to change.
Okay.
Okay, the new mayor is some of the stuff that's been done previously. You know why? Again, I mean, I have to say, the way how government works in San Francisco. Okay, there's a mayor that has certain control. There's a board of supervisor has local control. Look at district because it affects the residents or whatever. So they had a lot of power, right? In the board structure, there's moderates, which are small business people that want and there's people that are on the progressive side that wants to take care of their people, homelessness, people that are hurting or things like that. They want to treat them. That's why there's so many nonprofits and they were getting, a lot of the funding. So they had their turn. Now the moderates because the way the board of supervisors is structured now, there are more equal amount of moderates and progressives that they say. And when they do votes, you have 11 supervisors. When things get voted in, you need 6 votes. So if you have more of one, just like what's happening in Washington, the Republicans are outvoting the Democrats. And that's why everything that Trump is doing right now, border control, everything, stock market, they're all citing for him. The Democrats are all complaining and they're all saying it's his fault, all that stuff. I mean, that's what's happening. Same thing's happening in San Francisco. So the previous mayor had to go to the full and put like drones. We got cameras and drones because the board wouldn't allow it because of privacy. Okay? Nobody in the city, the residents, they don't know that. You see what happened with the Now there's a big fight with the Great Highway. Okay.
Okay, but okay.
No,
So
no,
this,
it all goes with
okay.
this, Rick. You can't
Okay.
just say,
Okay. Let's
"Oh,
go.
let's just
No,
all
no.
have more
I'm
parties."
saying with all of this board of supervisors and stuff, and how can we
So right now,
make it work to the benefit
but-
of entertainment?
So it's
or-
going
okay.
now that everything that what we've been talking about for years, the new mayor is trying to put this in place,
Okay.
but it takes time. Okay, he's out there every day seeing people. He sees people on 6th Street. You go to 6th Street now, it's all cleaned up because at least he goes there. But the previous people, the board, they just kind of like, okay, it's there. We can't change it. The new mayor's trying to make it change. He's changed the whole structure on his whole cabinet, per se. He's doing a whole new approach that hasn't been done in the last 20 years. These new changes are because he's only 48 years old, right? He doesn't need money, so there's no influence with who's voting and how much cash he has. I mean, for me, it not being experience of City Hall was a question for a lot of people, but his new approach is very good. It's very moving to the right direction, because there was that old regime that, oh, this is the way we do it, and it doesn't change, right? So he's totally saying, this is all out the door. I'm doing it my way. And so this is happening now, right? And now he's got more stuff that Scott Wiener's putting through, the Type 90s, but actually it kind of deflated our liquor license, because our liquor licenses were worth $250,000. Now they're probably worth 200 or 150, because the new license, if you have
120.
entertainment,
That's the last one I bought.
right? Then the Type 90, you could get it cheaper. And as long as you're having entertainment, you can get a liquor license. Before, there was a moratorium on how many you could get. And the reason why it took you 9 months, why it's taken me so long to get just a beer or wine, you have to go to the conditional use permit. If it never had one, there's a hell of a lot of process. And that was done because of the previous administration put it there, to protect the neighbors, right? So the mayor's trying to deal with that right now. Why is it taking so much time to get these things passed? Because he's still learning. But luckily, the board now, more of them are on the side of small business. During the time I was a commissioner, I was always trying to promote the small business. Even the previous mayor was promoting small business. But the neighbors had all the power. They just go call up their supervisors, say, I don't want it there, and then it just gets tied up in process, right? Okay, so now the mayor's trying to clean up our image, right? The previous administrator, we got drones. That's helping break down the car break-ins, but it's still happening, right? Speed cameras, more cameras. More people are getting caught. The DA was a situation.
Yeah.
We had a DA was letting people out of jail. They just check in and they check out. This DA, a recall had to happen. Again, people, the city, the residents got tired. The people that they voted in wasn't doing the job, right? That they liked. Why do you think, okay, now we blame all the people that voted for our new president, right? So the people that didn't are saying, okay, you see, you vote, you get what you get. So what happened now is they voted for, this mayor got in. The previous mayor, she got caught as far as trying to make the moves, but she didn't have a board that supported her, right? So that was the problem. So things had to go to the voters. So we got the voters to vote for the drones. We got voted for public safety. The voters recalled the DA. So now they wanted to shrink our jails down because it costs too much now that they have to open the jails up again because the DA is putting more people and making them accountable.
Okay, so yeah,
but until that happens, it's going to take time.
The districts are more favorable to clean up the city now, from what I'm gathering, right?
Well, they have
and
to.
The DA, everything that's kind of things
Small
are in
business-
place to get this
We
happening.
as small
right?
business owners never got it. They didn't care about us. They just
Yeah.
wanted our money to fund the
Yeah,
politicians.
I don't
They
think
tax the heck out
I
of
don't
us.
think the city, probably in the past 20 or so years,
It was small business on
they
the back
never,
burner.
yeah, they never really cared much about small business or entertainment. To be honest, I don't
Yeah.
think entertainment was anywhere in the city's radar, probably in the last 20 years.
Well, CMAC
It
was,
was just-
formed because they wanted to shut it down at
it
that
was
one time.
it was just kind of a given. I mean, this whole situation that Steven and Libby talk about, like, you know, ABC coming shutting you down, cops coming in shutting down. I mean, I dealt with it firsthand. Harlot was a hip hop club for the last 2-3 years, right? We
Right.
ran a hip hop club. We ran it really clean, right? But we were being selectively enforced certain laws and stuff. There is probably over, I mean, he would probably know the exact number, but over 1,000 people, 1,000 places in San Francisco with the entertainment license, but the cop chose to be at our place every weekend.
It was called selective enforcement. So that's the problem, right? And they let it happen. But CMAC was formed to fight against because the entertainment people didn't have somebody to fight for them. But here's the problem with the entertainment people too. Entertainment Commission is formed. We're supposed to buffer all that, but we have to be fair, right? It has to be equal for the residents and things. But the problem is there was no political push. So when the cops want to shut down, everybody want to shut down, CMAC was strong. We were out there, Rennie, everybody was out there, right?
Yeah.
When peacetime happens, and to keep CMAC active, we're asking all the entertainment people to start contributing. They don't want to contribute.
I didn't even know.
No, you
So-
could talk to Terrence out. We
Yeah,
we
I
had
mean, I've
CMAC
known
shrank
Terrence. I know
down
Terrence
to very
forever.
nothing to a group of because it was peacetime.
Okay.
When it's peacetime, nobody wants to pull. We're not a public agency.
You only need a lawyer when you're in trouble, right?
They only call us when they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay? So you have to kind of say, hey, how do we get more entertainment? Well, the entertainment people, we have to stand together and fight these things. Now, as far as the reason why everything goes in a cycle, okay? YOLO just got sold, okay? YOLO, Peter gave up because now Midway's taking all the big talent. He can't compete. He wants to do a big mega club and keep things going, but he can't compete. Midway is offering the same money as Peter can offer for playing down in Mountain View and playing on San Francisco. And the talent said, well, why should I play two places when I can play one? Because Midway now is competing. We're competing against each other.
Yeah.
So even Paul,
I
Paul
just
was
don't
here.
see there's enough people
There's not enough people.
to that are coming bridge and tunnel anymore or internationally.
That's right. There
I mean,
has to be a reason.
I think that 20% of the people that used to come to me were international. I think another 20% to 25% were bridge and tunnel, and those are just not there now. They're down to like 5%
Well,
each, in my opinion. But go ahead.
I agree with that, right? And I think there's the other side to it, Rick, as well too. Is I'll use Novella as an example, right? Pre-COVID and stuff, Novella neighborhood, that part of Soma, right, on Mission between second
There's
and
nobody
third.
down there. Why are you working?
Pre-COVID, you could literally not walk on the sidewalk because there were so many people on the
yeah.
sidewalk.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like if you wanted to cross the street at the stoplight, you had to like walk. You got to step down from sidewalks so you don't,
Yeah.
you actually get to
You're
cross,
waiting in
right?
line.
And there were a number of restaurants. There's a number of bars and stuff, and we're all doing great. Today, there is Novella and maybe one or two places
Because,
left in that whole area. Now
technology.
you would think Novella is the busiest time ever.
Yeah.
Because you just went from having 10 or 20 different places to go to only one or two,
And
three.
when the other restaurants closing, there's no reason. You
There
can't
is
even
no
bar hop.
exactly. There is no reason to be in that neighborhood because a lot of
So
places
everything's
closed down.
become a destination place. So you have a cool DJ there, they're gonna go.
That's
You have
right.
a party there, they're gonna go.
And that's the exact example what happened to San Francisco is now a destination place because a lot of these places all shut down.
Yeah.
So I'm fine if I live in Walnut Creek, hanging out in downtown Walnut Creek and not coming to San Francisco.
I mean, the reason why they want to get people to come back to work, because Zoom is making it comfortable. I don't have to come back to work. When it came out, there was an order that the mayor wanted the workers to come back 4 days a week, and they were saying, "Oh, I think I'll let them have the day off on Friday." I said, no, that's not what we want. Have the day off on Monday. Let them have a longer weekend so they could come out. So why are you like giving them a choice, right? The whole idea of bringing people back to work so that they will come back on Fridays so that the bars or restaurant can benefit
Right.
from
I was
that.
just getting ready to bring that up as well. You just brought it up. So, and your opinion on that? Do you think if people come back to work and they get people to come back to work, I think it should help, right?
Of
I mean,
I think it will absolutely help.
yeah,
Absolutely
especially
help.
like those areas, Novella.
especially
That
there.
on top of that, on my notes here, it's just it was people coming back to work, and then I also wanted to hit on a couple other things. It's entertainment zones. We can get. I'd like to know your guys' opinion. They're trying to do some new entertainment zones, and how does that? If there are these entertainment zones and they start doing well, what about everybody else? So
Yeah.
what's the opinion on that?
I'll add very quick. I'm sure Steven has probably a lot more experience when it comes to the city
Entertainment
legislations
zones,
and
depending on the
stuff.
neighborhood.
It was entertainment zones and 4 a.m. I want to know
Okay,
what.
well, first of all, let's
Okay.
forget 4 a.m. for now. But entertainment zone,
Okay.
like Ben Blyman's place, right? If it's a special event, they'll come. But if you have an entertainment zone in a neighborhood where it's more active all the time because people are not, they come out of their house to go down the street,
Yeah.
it works, right? It'll be more active. Entertainment zone for Blyman, he has to create something for people to come down there, right?
Yeah, and I totally agree with that, right? I mean, entertainment zone has to be a place where it's already some people going. There's a bunch of places in there active and stuff. Some of the entertainment zones that I'm looking at is like, so what?
But do you
how's
think
that make a
nighttime
difference?
entertainment zones will bring people back from Bridge and Tunnel? Like bigger
I
entertainment
don't
zones?
I don't
think
think so.
entertainment
Okay.
zones
Nope.
will bring people back. To
Okay.
be honest with you.
First of all, bridge and tunnel people have to feel like there's a reason to drive here, right? When there was cool. Well, I mean, we get people from San Jose and stuff like that, but not like it used to be, right? COVID did two things. It kind of was a cleansing in a sense. It kind of brought rents down, because people were not around and it brought rents down. But what it did was it got people to used to staying home. Right? When they were able to Zoom, before Zoom was out there way before COVID, but it was never really used, right? Nobody used it. Once they started figuring out how to use Zoom or Teams, everybody's staying home.
Let me just ask you guys one thing. Okay. You got 11th Street, you got Broadway. Say you had two DJs on Broadway and they closed Broadway off. They closed down 11th Street, different kinds of music. It's an entertainment zone where those are both entertainment zones. The streets are closed down. Maybe a third one out in Dogpatch or something like that. And you can drink till 4 a.m. outside with DJs on the street and all these other businesses and clubs in these areas with restaurants because you got Columbus is there. I think that would bring people back. I think that would bring Bridge and Tunnel back if they could leave their bars at midnight or 1 there and they could drink till 4 a.m. out on the streets here. I think it would really help
Yeah, you know
get
what?
them used to coming back. But I don't think PD would support that. I don't know for sure, but I'm just saying it's just an idea. That's I'm looking
No,
for
New York
ideas.
does,
I think that's an idea, right? That you could think about. I think that would help. But
I tell you,
give me a couple ideas, you
if
guys.
if you follow what New York is open 24 hours. New York's nightlife scene is booming. Restaurants are booming. What's their model? Somebody should go over there and find out what their model is.
Well, no, we
But-
can
but I'm
get
just
into
saying-
that though.
But I'm just saying an entertainment zone really is just a drink in the street. Really.
Yeah, but it's Bourbon Street, international cities, Bourbon Street, Fremont Street in Vegas.
Well, they got
Miami.
Buckhead in Atlanta. They got
I know, but that's what I'm saying. We don't have it.
So I think entertainment zone. It's not a bad idea. It's not gonna hurt anybody.
not gonna really-
It's not, but it's not your solution.
Okay,
Right.
I
The
just want the
entertainment
opinion.
zone is only to help those struggling in those neighborhoods.
There's other things that needs to be in place in order for entertainment zone to work, right? Just having entertainment zone and assuming that's just gonna solve all your problems is not the case. Unfortunately, it's been kind of promoted that way. It's like, oh yeah, we got entertainment zone, and
No.
as a business owner, as somebody
Yeah.
who's been in the nightlife, it's like, so what?
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. and the only thing the entertainment zone does, it just cuts out the SFMTA. When we want to have a block party,
Yeah.
it just cuts that out.
So you guys saw what they did, Dials did in San Jose. You saw the big huge party, brought out 30,000 people. It was all over the news and everything. How does that affect?
But
I
how
mean,
many days was that?
was
that one day?
It's
It was a one-off.
It was a one-off.
Yeah.
Dario Lori had a 2,500 people. Was it 20? No,
No, 20,000.
No, but I'm
20,000
people,
people
I
The-
mean,
the
with a
point-
DJ right on Grand Avenue.
Yeah, but the point is doing it on a more regular basis could
Who's going to
generate.
pay for it, Rick?
That's
I
why
mean,
I'm talking to
that's-
you
that's
guys.
about-
No, I'm not. I'm just trying
I'm just
to.
saying, let's look at the reality.
Okay.
Entertainment zone, whoever's going to back it, right?
Yeah.
It's just a city thing to say, okay, you don't have to pay SFMTA. You don't have to pay the cost, right? You try to even have a street fair next to Novella. How much do they want to charge you for that? I mean,
they
and
actually,
all the red tape.
blocked me because the fire department said they can't get a fire truck. They need to get
Yeah.
a fire truck through that alley, which
But-
I don't think there's been a fire truck there ever in
Yeah.
the last 20, 30 years.
So the entertainment zone cuts all that red tape. First they have to get the fire. Everybody has to be on the same page. In this city with parklets, remember parklets? Some people want to keep it, but the fire department said no, it's too small. You can't. So the departments didn't talk to each other. That's the problem.
So is the zone going to happen? He said he's going to cut out 4 or 5 entertainment zones. When are the lines going to be drawn, if you know? And is that actually going to happen? He said it on the mayor said it on his.
I think
on
what,
his
It's okay to
Instagram.
have entertainment zones. There's no.
I don't think there's any problem
And,
with
and
having
how will
entertainment
that
zone.
affect? I'm just
I don't
trying
think
to
you will see
understand. I'm
much
trying
of
to
an
gonna
effect
affect
from out
anything.
of it.
Okay,
I think
okay.
the only thing that could help, and unfortunately, the one that at least I looked at, there isn't even like a bunch of places around it where you say you could just shut down the street every Friday or Saturday, be on the street, and even forget about 4 a.m. Just drink till 2 a.m.
But let's
right?
talk about 4
But-
a.m. I want to know
But I
about
do
that
want to
as
talk
well.
about 4
Okay,
a.m. Right?
okay.
I mean, if you look at anywhere in the world that's known for being an entertainment place, a fun place, and stuff, they don't stop serving at 10 a.m. At 10 p.m. They don't stop serving at midnight. They don't start serving at 2 a.m. They'll let it go. It's
24 hours.
It's either 24 hours or 6 a.m. or 4 a.m. or some reasonable time, right? You would need the 4 a.m. in order to bring California back. I mean, forget just San Francisco. The same thing is happening in LA, by the way, too. I mean, my friends down, or business owners down in LA, they're hurting.
They want it bad.
They're hurting really bad. While New York is booming, Miami is booming, right? Vegas is booming. They've had some of the best years ever, right? Guess what? Because a lot of San Francisco people, a lot of probably LA people and stuff move out of California and then went to those places. And also is that you're allowed, right, to go beyond just 2 a.m. You could get to 4 a.m. because there's no restriction.
And let's just assume they get 4 a.m. in the major cities. That would help bring people back from outside the area because they don't want to stop partying. Nobody wants to stop partying at 1:30 in the morning anymore. They're used to going to Vegas. They're used to going to these other cities where they can party all night. That might bring some people back, correct?
I think what will also bring back, Rick, that we probably haven't really discussed much about here is more investment into the nightlife. That is really important to me. We need new places opening up. We need new concept coming here.
but-
That's our next thing.
It is. I mean,
New infrastructure, right?
And unless you have these, so this is where the city comes to support, right? This is where the state or the county or the government comes to support this stuff, right? Unless you have these things, it doesn't look great to these outsiders, right? To the Tao groups, right? To the.
I mean, we've been trying to make this an entertainment. Terrence Allen was trying. It was supposed to be promoted like Atlanta has, like you say, Buckhead.
Yeah.
But they're only in certain areas. The problem is, we have so many different pockets, right, of entertainment, and so many neighbors have so much power. The city gave all the neighbors all the power. I mean, the Entertainment Commission helps, and we're getting more permits, but it's just to run a business, right? You do your thing, you have your talent. I do what's good for me, but again, it goes to the bottom line. With minimum wage $20 an hour, right? With all the extra costs.
By the way,
And what I'm
$20
worried
an
about.
hour, is just to find somebody off the street. You can't even hire a good quality
Yeah.
person.
So
for
that
a
means
minimum
skilled
wage.
labor is going to go up
So
$5
go-
more,
At least go 30% up.
and then security costs, right?
Can I ask if either of you know, since COVID, what do you think the percentage is? I mean, I see a lot of people of restaurants and nightclubs that close down. And do you think it affects things like from people that are coming in internationally and they look at there's not that much to do here,
That's
that
right.
stops them from coming? What's the percentage that we lost? And what do we need to build back? I mean, in nightclubs alone, I mean, we've lost a ton as far as I can
think
tell.
it's pretty clear.
And
San
restaurants
Francisco,
restaurants as well. So I mean, if you're looking at coming here from somewhere else or even Bridge and Tunnel, if we had more restaurants like we used to and we had more nightlife than their town, Vallejo, Oakland, wherever you're coming from, if you had more, people would come back here, in my opinion.
Okay, so Rick,
what's your opinion on that?
I mean, in my opinion, Rick, until the workers come back, and that was our base. We did well with tech. Like San Wo, $200,000 was just Uber Eats because they worked late. They ordered food, $200,000. When we reopened San Wo, we were lucky to get $50,000 because nobody's ordering because there's nobody, right?
Nobody, yeah.
Lunchtime. And then it's all about the vibe. People want to be with people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if there's no base workers here, there's no vibe, right? So
Okay.
until you bring that back, now tourism.
But to bring the workers back, we need to, like he's saying, we need to bring back more infrastructure. We need to bring back more places to get people to come work.
No, you
but
need-
then
you
can
need
they
to get
afford to
companies
live?
You need
Can
the
they- yeah.
companies to open up and bring their workers.
Okay.
There's no, so downtown right now, there's so many empty, they want to turn them into housing. Now, if they turn in more housing, then maybe people like Santana Row, right?
Yeah.
You have shops down there, restaurant. People live upstairs, but people drive to be in Santana Row. They want to be there. They don't feel, we're too like spread out. The port does well because it's clean. There's parking. We have great restaurants. Prices might be high, but again, they all shut down early because of labor costs. And we can't get labor right now. In fact, if I reopen San Juan again, it's only going to be at night. I'm not even going to open daytime.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I think, Rick, what people are missing is not just a tourist coming to San Francisco, right? I'll give you an example. We do have conferences that happen in San Francisco. They're usually midweek conferences. It's like Tuesday to Thursday or even Tuesday to Friday or so. And guess what those people do when it comes on Friday? They leave right away because San Francisco, there is nothing to do beside work for them. Now, if San Francisco had a great nightlife, it was very fun weekend, and you could just go anywhere.
And we've
have a
had
great
that
time.
through our years, you guys. We've
Guess
all
what? Those
seen
people
that.
would have just stayed here for extra day or so.
Okay.
So it's not just like, the tourists are coming in here, or it's the duration that even the people that are coming here that are staying. I want to come to San Francisco. I'm just going to see Golden Gate. I want to see Bay Bridge. I want to see a few things, and let's get out of here. So make sure we're in Vegas on the weekend, right? Because that's what we're gonna.
I mean,
have
it all
fun.
depends.
So
We're gonna have to. We're
Chinatown
gonna
right
have
now,
to.
I get a lot of out-of-towners right now
so-
because they feel it's cool. They could bar
Okay.
hop, not very much, but it's clean.
yeah,
Nobody's
even the
harassing them.
number of tourists in Chinatown has gone significantly. I don't remember. Yeah, last
I
time I
could
was in
do a
Chinatown.
whole
it was-
another one with you guys, but we got to close
gotta
this
wrap
one
it
out.
up.
So, I would like just a closing statement from you. Anything you want to say or get off your mind, please tell me, and then we'll move to Arash. But go ahead.
I think we have to give time to get this process going. You can't. It just doesn't change overnight. We just got a mayor with not even 100 days. It's like just 100 days. You can't just switch it. And also he has to maneuver the old school. There's so many old schools. So he's changing. He's changing commissioners. He's changing. People are retiring. His whole staff is young. I mean, you see him running around. That's all his staff running. They're probably only in their
high
30s,
schoolers.
right?
But I do say one thing to that, Steve, is a lot of the small businesses that we have today don't have a lot of time. I
Right.
said this last year. I said in 2024, there's going to be more hospitality, restaurant, clubs, bars go out of business that have gone
Because they
out of
can't
business
last. Yeah.
during COVID. And unfortunately, 2025 seems like to be another.
Well,
rough
you
night.
guys have both
So-
hung. You've stayed in business. You've stayed in business.
Yeah, but
A
you
lot of
didn't-
people have left. Okay.
Well, you didn't know how much we lost.
Yeah.
Well, I
You
do.
know, you didn't-
I'm still in. I lost 2
Yeah,
places.
so-
I lost a lot too.
So we're lucky
but
that-
we're all still here.
Well,
I mean,
because
and everybody I bring on here is still.
We might have, we have investors obviously that don't really need the money, but at the same time we have a challenge. And like you say, insurance just jumped. You know, we weren't expecting that. I mean, luckily, we're in a neighborhood that is kind of a touristy neighborhood. We worked so hard to make Chinatown cool to hang out,
I love Chinese.
you know, but it wasn't cool before.
Yeah.
It was only Lipo and Buddha, and that's why I pitched it that we have to have a spot to anchor. So we have live music. I can't charge cover. Well, you can't charge cover. Nobody wants to pay. When we had one promoter just to charge, remember this group Sweater? You know,
Yeah,
Sweater?
yeah.
They charge $5. 60 people refuse to pay.
Yeah,
Right?
I understand.
Even it's packed, but they just say, "Oh, we have to." They just walk away. They'll go to Buddha. This is the mentality. They rather buy on their own, buy drinks for themselves. You know, I have to put the entertainment costs in my drinks, so my prices are a little bit higher, but not quite as high. But it cost me $1,000 for entertainment with live music and the DJ. That didn't include, and luckily I only 2 security. When I had Glass Cat, before I opened the door, it cost me $1,500 for security. So the big clubs, you know, you have to understand how much labor it costs, right? And then you get to the point where to get the skilled labor, do they want to work? Some of these people
So-
don't even want to work.
Okay.
So that might affect the 4 o'clock.
But I want to get with your final statement to me.
Final thing is we got to hold on. Whatever we do, of course we do to make it our own business survive. But I don't know what the answer is or what you want us to come up with, other than we got to survive, because if we go, there will be less places for people to go. So our business models have to be sustainable, right? 4 o'clock, I like to have the option. If we can open the 4, like I told Wiener and Haney, it's a good option to have. How many, though, as operators can really want to open till 4? And then at the same time, more people will come out later. So then what? Do we not open at 9 o'clock? You know, and we have less people to come.
Okay.
So that's something to be a challenge. I think some of the ones that are open at 4 are resorts, right? They're already in the hotels. They want to party more, but they don't want to come out. If the entertainment zone is everybody's open to 4, everybody has to open. It can't be just one bar open to 4. It has to be everybody in the entertainment zone should all agree. We're going to open at 4, all of us.
Okay.
Then the entertainment zone will work. But if it's just an option and only one guy opens and the rest of them close, I don't think it's going to work out.
All right. Give me a closing statement and just.
So I think, similar to Steve's point, see, this is a very complex problem, right? It's not one of those issues that you could say one entity, one group, one business can solve. It does take all of us, right? One positive part is San Francisco is so beautiful that if you just fix some of these issues, the city will sell itself.
Yep.
Right? Just a simple photo of San Francisco on a sunny day will do a lot more than what probably 90% of the city in the world have to do. Right? So we have the tools. We have it right in front of us. What do we need? The most important part is safety. Unless there is a safety, unless people know that San Francisco is safe and it's clean, nothing's going to happen. I'm telling you, you could to 4 a.m. You could even have places that are open for free.
Yep.
If there is no safety, people are not going to go to it. I mean, I saw it firsthand with Turtle Tower, right? Great product, great people, great operator, great family, legacy business, went out of business just because the safety wasn't there.
I had to move. I was on Eddie. I had to move. Go ahead.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
Safety is first. We need people back to work. We need people to come to San Francisco. That's probably the most important part.
Yep.
And I work in tech, day job, right? Giving people an option to come to work 3 days a week is not a good option. Because number one, if I'm coming on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and my coworker is coming on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, guess how many people in the office?
Yeah.
Only 50%.
Right.
We only overlap maybe on one day, right? And the minute that you say it's 3 days, now it's like, well, today I got to go, I got a plumber coming. I don't know. I got to wash my car and stuff. Now it's all easy to go to 2 days, and it's from there. It's easy to go. So you need people to come back to work as how it used to be. And I can tell you many reasons why it's actually good to have people to work, right?
Yep.
So that's the second part. I think the third part is the city getting entertainment zone you mentioned, just supporting
But
it.
would that be like subsidized funds, cheaper taxes for us?
Absolutely.
Just for these entertainment and restaurants.
You remember
and
when Broadway every weekend was packed? They
Oh,
literally, like everybody, just make in the street something like that. Santana Row idea. Those things that are permanent, that are
Remember
not
when
one
Broadway
off.
had all the strip clubs and people said, "Wow, all the neon signs." People, the tourists just wanted to go see
I
it
love it. Yeah.
and eat at the restaurants there. But again, like you say, everybody has to be on the same page,
Okay.
right?
Everybody.
Otherwise, it's not going to
So
work.
that's, to me, that's where the support from the city comes up, right?
Okay.
It's not the one-off thing that you do in Embarcadero. It's not the outside land that now you're gonna,
These are all
extend it to-
one-off. I mean,
They're
we do
one-off.
one-offs.
One-off is fine, great,
Yeah.
right? But that means that
But
you
tomorrow,
only-
next week is dead.
you only need the one-off people to come as a tourist to San Francisco, and that's it. Just come one weekend. No, you need to promote it. You need to build it. Outdoor, to me, sorry, last
Yeah, go
point.
ahead.
Outdoor, to me, is a great opportunity that we're missing in San Francisco. Meaning more parklets, more rooftops. I mean, there is so many outdoor places in New York during the cold ass winter, and they're
they still
open,
Oh.
operating well, no problem. Everywhere around the world, they figured out. San Francisco, for some reason, we can't get around it.
But then again, we have 3 rooftop bars. They're not doing that great, right?
Well-
They're okay. But again, we got to get the people in. We got to get our base going. Just like the Chinese New Year parade, thousands of people. But then the next Sunday, everybody's gone.
Everyone's gone.
And that's what's happening with the entertainment zones. Everybody has to be open
Okay.
in order to be fun, and you have to give them an experience. Would you want to go to Disneyland for one day and then the next day there's nobody in the park? You're not going to have fun. You don't have to wait in line anymore. But where's the vibe? Where's
To
the
me,
energy?
the idea of entertainment. I know we're wrapping this up.
Yeah,
To me,
but
the
go
idea
ahead.
of entertainment zone is shut down half the blocks in Marina, for example, where you already have people there. Even though I don't have a business there, shut down. Honestly, Chinatown. They do it on Saturdays, I think, or Sundays, where they shut down the streets in Chinatown so people go and stuff.
No, not anymore.
Oh, that's
We
gone
used to.
anyway. We're places that already have a lot of establishment and work with them, so they would
Yeah,
serve
but
the
on a
people
regular
outside.
basis
On a
to
regular
build up.
basis, yeah.
You guys, I want to thank you both very much for coming. And you guys are just speaking your mind, but I think it was very productive. I think a lot of things just came out. And I really appreciate you
I mean,
both
there's
coming
like
out.
I say, there's a political aspect that's working, but it's going to take time.
Okay.
The
But
doom loop.
that's
scenario
good for people to
is
know,
not
though.
going away. We're teaching people one at a time. Like I take tourists out and take a little tour and look how clean and street and safe it is. But the biggest thing is at least the homeless are being treated. The mental health issue, if that doesn't get treated, and they go into a halfway or whatever and get treated and get off the street, this problem will never go away. We're gonna have pockets. You're gonna have the lady hanging out in a Rosh's place, and then the landlord's gonna be mad, and things like that. You just can't help it, and sometimes you feel sorry for these people, But the city is treating them more now, I think, under the new regime. He's really trying to get them in and off the street, so it helps us as small business people. I mean, do you agree with that?
I mean, I could do a whole nother one with you guys, but I really appreciate everything you just brought out. I think it's different than what anybody else has said on this. And,
Hey, we're here for the long haul as long as we don't go broke.
Well,
and I
that's-
tell you, we lost a lot of money over the years,
I agree.
Yeah.
right?
I've got a couple more episodes of this, and then I'll cut it down and I'll send it out to you guys when it's finished.
yeah.
Awesome. Thanks,
Okay.
Rick.
All
Thanks
right,
for
man.
doing this.
Thank
I
you
really
guys so
appreciate it.
much. All right.
I know you got a pretty good lineup coming up too. Thank you. Okay. No, it's actually comfy. I remember these couches. You know where they're from?
Where?
Bubble Lounge.
No, it's really good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How'd you save those?
That's okay.
Yeah.
This is still going.
Dude, look how solid these things are, man. Steel beams are being solid.
They're coming back and stuff. All these are bubble lounge couches? What do you do? You buy